Okay, people. So, Final Destination, right? We went back to where it all began in 2000, right? I think this film, that's when this dropped, you know what I mean? It is directed by James Wong, who co-wrote the film with Glen Morgan and Jeffrey Reddick. The film is produced by Warren Zid, Craig Perry, Glen Morgan. It is executive produced by Richard Brenner and Brian Whitten. It is associate produced by Chris Bender and co-produced by Art Schaefer. Shirley Walker handled the music. Robert McLaughlin is on cinematography. James Koblenz edits the piece, with John Papsidera taking care of casting duties. Production design is John Willett. Art direction is William Heslop. Mary Lou's story is set decoration. Costume design is Jory Woodman. Hair and makeup, wigs and all, right? We have got Leanne Ray Padvan, Rosemary Maldonado, Bev Wright, Adrian Stansfield, Chris Stanley, Jeffrey Redknapp, Ryan Nicholson, Holland Miller, Richard Merriman, Shauna McGriff, Tom McIntyre, Harlow McFarlane, Lisa Love, Isa Jessica Jordan, Rachel Griffin, Mike Fields, Paul Edwards, and Stacey Butterworth. So, our cast, right? Alex Browning is played by Devon Sawa. Do we have his parents? Yes. His dad, Ken, is played by Robert Wisdom. His mum, Barbara, played by Barbara Tyson. We also have Claire Rivers, who I thought throughout the film they're saying Claire, but it's Claire. Right? She's played by Ali Larter. There's Carter Horton, played by Kerr Smith. His girlfriend, Valerie Luton. No, his girlfriend is Terry Chaney, played by Amanda Detmer. Valerie Luton is her teacher. She's played by Kristen Cloke. There's Todd Wagner, played by Chad Donella. His brother George Wagner, played by Brendan Farr. There's their dad, Mr. Wagner, played by Larry Gilman. Their mother, Mrs. Wagner, played by Peelin Johnson. Right. We also have got Billy Hillcock, played by Seann William Scott. There's William Bloodworth, played by Tony Todd. Daniel Roebuck is Agent Ween. Roger Governor Smith is Agent Shrek. We've got Larry Manure, played by Forbes Angus. Krista Marsh, played by Lisa Marie Crook. Blake Drewer, played by Christian Chatelain. Howard Siegel, played by Fred Keating. The co-pilot, played by Mark Holden. So, yes, that is our cast. And the gist of the story, Alex is boarding a plane to France on a school trip when he suddenly gets a premonition that the plane will explode. Shortly after, Alex Shortly after Alex, a group of students and his teacher are thrown off the plane, and to their horror, the plane does explode. Alex must now work out Death's plan as each of the survivors falls victim. Whilst trying to prevent the next death, Alex must also dodge the FBI, who believe that he caused the explosion. So that is the film. I remember when it first came out, I thought it was fine, right? That, you know, it's always amusing watching silly deaths and all of that kind of thing. And I believe I watched the second film. I think after that I was kind of done, right? I kind of get bored of repetition. So yeah, coming back to this film, because, you know, we've got a new entry dropping, Final Destination Bloodlines. I was like, you know what? Let me go back to the beginning, right? It's been working in previous weeks where we've done it with a simple flavor. And, gosh, there was something else, wasn't it? Anyway, so we did it here. And, yeah, like coming back to this, it feels super goofy. It feels super, though, I will say, right, Tony Todd's William Bloodworth character has a lot more gravitas in this one. He feels a bit more maniacal, right? Though he's just a mortician, right? Like there's more. It feels there's more to him in this film, which is interesting. I think, you know, after seeing so many films of this ilk, right? Coming back to it, you can see all the very clear setups and things that make them, like at the beginning, you got Alex talking to his parents, right? And there's a bit his dad's like, hey, you're going away, you know, you're 17, have fun. You got the rest of your life ahead of you. And he's looking down, and we just have this slow shot of him slowly looking up with this kind of like, look on his face. And it's just like, why? Like it doesn't make sense as a shot, right? As a thing, because he's a 17-year-old kid, right? His dad's saying, oh yeah, live it up, you got the rest of your life ahead of you. No one's gonna think, but I might be dead tomorrow. Oh, what it? No, they're gonna be like, yeah, you know that, right? Or they'll just be like, shut. You keep on saying corny shit. That's the reaction. Not, what? Like, that's not the reaction. You know? So there's a lot of that, right? Trying to go, oh, you know what I mean? Like, but what if they're dead? Right? There's a lot of that in the film when there is really no need for it. Which is just, as I say, goofy. Right? Like, it's fun because, you know, it's a school trip, right? And they play all of these kids, the way they're acting, it's just too much, right? You've got them coming to and like pushing each other over and just all of this, right? And Carter Horton is kind of meant to be like the school jock and bully, but it's just over the top, right? Like he's, you know, the incident is, you know, they get kicked off the plane, right? Which is in the synopsis, so it's not a shock, right? And it's in the trailer. So they get kicked off because Alex is just like, you know, freaking out. But then you've got Carter getting up and punching him. And it's just like, why the fuck would that be the reaction? You know what I mean? Like, the reaction is probably more likely to be calling over the flight attendants to try and get him booted, right? There's no need for you to punch him. You know what I mean? So there's these reactions that make absolutely no sense, right? But it's kind of like, right, let's have a bully. Let's have this stereotype. And so instead of actually layering the characters, putting some depth into them, all we get is this base level thing, right? And having them act in a silly way to try and be like, dum, 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 yes, this is it. And it's just like, it's kind of goofy, man. It's kind of goofy. So, yeah, we get a lot of that, right? And just the whole FBI angle, because they think he had something to do with the plane blowing up, makes absolutely no sense, right? Because if he'd had something to do with the plane blowing up, he's not going to get up and going, the plane's going to blow up. He might make up an excuse to leave the plane. Like, he'd be like, I'm really ill. I need to, oh my God, I'm so ill. Right? Or something. But you're not going to be like, the plane's blowing up. And then going like, yes, that was all part of the elaborate plan. Like, that is ridiculous. And one other thing, which I'd completely forgotten, like, you have all of these death setups and everything like that, which is fine, right? But what I forgot was the fact that you have the kind of things happen to cause, like, let's say water, right? There's a water, spill or something. And then once the death has happened, the water disappears. And you're just like, yeah, but why though? Right? Because there's no need for it to disappear. Because if it's death's thing to kill off these people that were meant to die, who really cares then? Like, if there's water or not water? Because the main thing is to get them dead. Right? No one's going to be like, hold on, there's water. Must be death, right? Everyone's going to be like, oh, there was a leak, right? That's the thing. So it doesn't really make any sense for things to then disappear, to act like, wait, what happened? All of that is like, huh? And I think what I noticed with this film, we get a lot of, like, people are just stepping into roads and turning around and having conversations, and it's just like, it's not like it's a quiet side street. You know what I mean? Like, that you might go, okay, yeah, like, it makes more sense because it's not necessarily busy, and this thing came out of nowhere. But then you also have to film, this is in 2000. It's not like you had quiet fucking cars, right? Like, I nearly got run over by an electric car because you do not hear them, right? Like, back then, you heard cars, right? They made noise. You know what I mean? So the fact that people are just stepping out into the road and acting like, oh, yeah, everything's fine, is very bizarre. It's definitely an odd one, right? Doesn't make any sense. Right? People ain't doing it. So you have a lot of these setups that do not make any sense. It's not a smart film when it comes to all of this. Now, you might go, it doesn't need to be, right? I mean, if you like, campy horrors, like silly horrors, like the horror type of films that play on Sci-Fi Channel, late night on TV, that kind of thing, where it's more about the gore, it's more about the craziness, then yeah, it doesn't need this elaborate, clever setup, and that will be fine for you. But yeah, if that's what you do want, it doesn't really work, right? The acting is very up and down, right? Again, we have these stereotype archetypes for these characters, and you have this fake aggression or this fake worry, and it's really just, it doesn't feel real, right? Like a lot of the friendships and that, they don't feel real. It is very up and down on the acting front. Some people aren't bad, and then others are just like, what were they told? Right? What was the direction coming in here? Right? Because yeah, plays a little weird. But, it was from 2000. Things have changed, kind of. But maybe not so much. But, it was a huge film. So there were definitely fans of this type of movie, And you can definitely see that, right? So, yeah, if you like those kind of crazy, weird horrors and things like that, then obviously Final Destination will work for you. I think it's that kind of, from back in the day, right? Scary Movie, was it Jeepers Creepers? Like all of them type of things, Scream. If they're your bag, then yeah, you were going to be a fan of Final Destination, right? So, yes, that is our revisit of the film in preparation for Final Destination Bloodline. So there you go. Final Destination.